What's up, environmental science scholars? In today's class, we're going to be creating a visual representation of either a primary or secondary succession in an environment of your choice. And we can see that in this example, we've got an eastern deciduous forest. We notice that there are four stages. We can see that within each level, there's additional life. We see this reemergence of species, along with at the bottom of the poster, a blurb. We also remember that in our last class, we identified the images that we're going to be using, and so I can see that this one particular student decided that he was going to use Mount St. Helens, did a little bit of research, and here we've got the background. We've also got a little bit of lichen, fern, aspen. We're going to include some animals in this. But before we jump into that, what does the template look like for today? Well, we've got the grid background, right? And I also noticed that we've got the level labels at the top of each panel, and at the very top of the poster we've got primary succession of, and you're going to fill in the blank with the environment of your choice. Now let's do a little bit of review. In our very first class, we learned how to use the move tool. We know that when we're using the move tool and auto select is checked, what we can do is we can sort of grab the image and move it anywhere on the canvas. For example, we can shift this around and the scorpion, and we know that when we shift the scorpion over here, we can't see it because it's beneath this template layer in the layers palette. Beautiful. In our last class, we learned how to use the magnetic lasso. So we also remember that it clings to high contrast objects. So I'm going to very briefly sort of click around the edge of this scorpion, and I'm not doing an amazing job. But we know that if we seal it up and we press Command C, Command V, we now have got this new scorpion that we can shift anywhere else on this document. What are we learning today? Today we're going to learn how to use the marquee tool along with making copies of layers super easily. So here's the uh, rectangular marquee. There's a few different marquee tools. If you right click, because each button is context sensitive, we can pull up a few other ones. We're just going to be using the rectangular marquee today. And let's say, for example, we wanted to grab Jack. Right? If we press Command C, Command V, all of a sudden we've got this new layer, but let's pretend we don't want to include Brandon's face. I'm going to return to the rectangular marquee. I'm going to create a selection over Brandon, and I'm going to press delete, and all of a sudden Brandon's no longer there. We sort of carved away. We've got this image of just Jack. And what I'm going to do right now is, because Jack is great, but for this example, I'm going to drag him to the garbage can. Basura. Let's return to the marquee tool. What we're going to do is I'm going to grab Sam over here. I'm going to create a selection, and I'm going to press Command C, Command V, right? And so we can make a copy. But that's not the only way to make a copy. If you look at your keyboard, between Control and Command, there's this button. It's the Option button. It's kind of amazing because when you're using the Move tool, right? When the Move tool is selected, and you're holding Option, what it does is it makes a copy of the image automatically. So right now what I'm doing is I'm simply holding down Option. I'm using the mouse tool, and I'm left clicking and creating all these cool images. So it's a really super efficient way to make copies. Beautiful. So what's the relevance of that for today's project? Well, when we jump into our template, what we need to do is we need to find the background. I'm going to right click, I'm going to copy image, I'm going to return to Photoshop. I'm going to press Command V, and right now I can see that it's above the grid background. So I'm going to press Command T, I'm going to increase the size a little bit. I'm going to press check. I might want to resize it in a moment. I'm going to drag down, and I can see that right there. You know what? Not bad. I like that. Okay, this looks great. And what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be using just level 2 as the basis for the background for each of these 4 levels. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to once again select the rectangular marquee, and I can see that I'm on this layer, layer 1. I'm on the this background layer. I'm going to press delete, and it's gone. And we're then going to press Command D to deselect. I'm going to make a new selection, and it's the right side of level 2. I'm going to press delete, boom, and it's gone. So now we remember if we use the move tool and we're holding option, right? If we're holding alt option between these two buttons, we can very easily and quickly create this background. And what I noticed is that some of this was off the edge. So I'm going to return to the rectangular marquee. I'm going to make the selection. I'm going to press delete, and we're good. All right, so I'm going to make, actually, you don't need to make another selection. Hold option, shift this over. Tremendous, this looks amazing. All right, so when we return to Google Chrome, I can see that this was probably this is in fact a PNG layer, but there's no transparency um, because we don't see the white and gray checkers. So I'm going to copy image. I'm going to return to Photoshop. We're going to go to File, New, just like we did in our last Photoshop class. Press Enter, Command V. We're going to use the magnetic lasso, and we're going to go all the way around super quickly. We're going to add some lichen. Beautiful. We're going to press Command C. Oops, we're going to press Command C. We're going to return here. We're going to press Command V. Nice. So there's some lichen. It's a little bit big, so we're going to press Command T. We're going to hold Shift and grab the corner. We'll maybe put this down right there. Great. And so what I know is that maybe this is a little bit big. We'll put that right there. If it's in the first level, it's also probably going to be in the second, the third, and the fourth. Now, maybe you're going to have all these examples of species sort of shifting around. Maybe even they're going to be overlapping a little bit. That's totally your call. So let's grab this aspen tree, for example, and I'm actually going to right click and I'm going to save image as. I'm going to save it to the desktop. File, open. Where is it? Boom, boom, boom. So we've got the elk, the fern. We've got a few different things going on. So I'm going to press Command A, Command C to copy and paste. And there we've got the elk already cut out. We're going to press Command T. We're going to shift the size. You guys are going to fill in the rest. I'm looking for some really creative and compelling visuals here. But what about adding that blurb at the bottom? Well, when we go to Google Drive, right, and we find this doc that we were working on yesterday, what you're going to do is you're going to left click and you're going to copy and you're going to highlight all the text that you wrote. You're going to press Command C. We're going to go to Photoshop. We're going to use the type tool. And maybe your first inclination is to click once, right, and press Command V. And I don't even see it. Does anybody know why we don't see it right now? Yeah, that's because it's beneath the grid background. So now all of a sudden it's above the grid background. And what we can do is if we use the type tool, I'm going to click once, I'm going to press enter, and then enter, and then enter again, and it looks a little bit like that. So that's one method of doing of adding text and sort of squeezing it into that space. I'm going to hide this layer, and what I'm going to do again is I'm actually now going to, using the type tool, hold down and click. I'm sorry, holding down the left mouse clicker, the left mouse button. I'm going to press Command V, and it fills in that space. And the significance of this is if you sort of shift this text around, it will stay in the designated space that you initially created. So those are two different ways of adding text. You're going to add a blurb. You're going to have your name in 2017. I'm super excited about seeing your poster.